Captain, My Captain by Walt Whitman. O Captain, my Captain, our fearful trip is done. The ship has weathered every rack, the prize we sought is won. The port is near, the bells I hear, the people all exulting, while follow eyes the steady keel, the vessel grim and daring. But, oh heart, heart, oh the bleeding drops of red, where on the deck my captain lies, fallen cold and dead. O Captain, my Captain, rise up and hear the bells. Rise up, for you the flag is flung, for you the bugle trills. For you bouquets and ribboned wreaths, for you the shores a-crowding. For you they call, the swinging mass, their eager faces turning. Here, Captain, dear father, this arm beneath your head, it is some dream that on the deck you've fallen cold and dead. My captain does not answer, his lips are pale and still. My father does not feel my arm, he has no pulse or will. The ship is anchored safe and sound, its voyage closed and done. From fearful trip the victor ship comes in with object won. Exult, O shores, and ring, O bells, but I with mournful tread walk the deck my captain lies, fallen cold and dead. Okay, so hello there today. I probably just finished reading this.
You did just finish reading it,
Yeah.
actually. Although that was kind of, like half an hour ago.
Yeah, but anyways, so it is Saturday. We don't always wait till Sunday. We have
Most
a
of the
calc
time, but
We have a calc test, so
we actually just took it like 2 periods ago. So yeah.
well, like 3.
Okay, 3 periods ago. But anyway, to the poem. So, the first thing I noticed, just because, stereotype. Oh, sorry, background music. There we go. The first thing I noticed while reading the poem, okay, it's not really the first thing I noticed, but it's one of the first things I noticed, just because you look for it when you're reading a poem, just because, stereotypical poetry is the rhyming. So if you look at it, there's an A, B, B, C, D, E, D rhyme scheme in that goes on throughout all 3 stanzas.
And then also notice the format, how you have the first 4 lines that don't have any indentation at all, and then the next 4 lines which are indented but then increasingly indented as you go along. This, again, just like the rhyme scheme, is also repeated out through the other 3 stanzas.
Mm-hmm. And also, so that like little indentation, it kind of, it doesn't split it up into like two stanzas, obviously. So the poem's only 3 stanzas, but it is kind of like almost kind of like a separate section of the stanzas. So it's like a stanza and a half, kind of. So like the first 4 lines of the stanza talk about one idea, the one state, I guess, and then the next 4 lines usually talk about something else, and they're related and they piggyback off of one another. So that's why they're all in the same stanzas, because they're kind of related, but they're not exactly the same thing, which I kind of liked. I thought that was cool.
So let's start getting into the meat of this thing. So starting out the 8th stanza with "O Captain, my Captain," calling out to your captain. Our fearful trip is done. So these people have gone on tried to do something very risky, it looks like. You see the ship has weathered every rack, but the prize we sought is won. So they took a big risk, but it apparently paid off.
When I saw this, when I was annotating, I just put a little arrow and I was like, I wonder who these people are. And then I saw the prize we sought is won, and I was like, could they be pirates? Maybe. I don't know. Because,
Definitely a valid argument.
Yeah, because, pirates like prize, fearful trip. I thought it fit.
Yeah. Unfortunately, then you look along the next line. The port is near, the bells I hear, the people all exulting. It's not really something you would expect with pirates returning home.
Nope. They wouldn't really be welcome.
No. You're probably laughing right now.
The next thing I noticed, in the next line it says, "While follow eyes the steady keel." First off, no idea what a keel was. Looked it up. Means boat. And then the other thing, while follow eyes, it just kind of, it fits, but to me it just kind of sounds weird, and that's because, you know, normally it's while eyes follow, but Logan had some good input on this.
If you think about it, the two ways he could have written this, the way that we would normally say it, while eyes follow the steady keel, or while follow eyes the steady keel. I just feel like there's more of a romantic voice to the second way, the way that Whitman wrote it. And then to kind of counteract that romantic part, the next part of that line, the vessel grim and daring. I mean, it kind of reinforces that idea that it might be about pirates.
Because grim and daring, obviously. Pirates are known to do very dangerous and bold things, and things that not very many other people find happy, which, you know, fits into grim. But that also, you just put the pirates idea off to the side a little bit. That also just plays into the journey was obviously held some weight. It was obviously very important, because you're not going to go on a grim and daring journey if you're just kind of like going on a stroll. That's not grim and daring. It's obviously something of importance.
So looking at the next four lines, indentation part, and you start out with, but oh heart, heart, heart. I mean, just something that it looks like someone sort of panicked, something's happened. His heart's beating really fast.
They're torn away from the excitement of the return of the vessel to a different sort of scene. Something has happened, like you said.
Yeah, and then you read along and you find out that the guy just found out that the captain of his ship, that just went on this fearful trip, and they were just about home, and their captain is dead.
So obviously, that's going to provide some sort of panic or some sort of like insecurity, because you've just gone on this whole journey, and your captain's the one that's leading you. And he's kind of like your strong point, your rock that you're relying on the whole time, and now he's dead. So where do you go from there?
And I think just big emphasis on that first line. But now that we found out that the captain's dead, but oh heart, heart, heart. This isn't just something shocked him. This is something that just tore the heart out of his body.
Oh.
I mean, and notice the repetition of the word heart. He's trying to grasp his heart, gasping for breath. It's just killing him. And I mean, one thing that I'd like to point out is the use of the 3 exclamation points in that first line there of the indentation part. Look at that and how it relates to some of the other stanzas and what they use there.
We haven't done stanza 2 yet.
Yeah, we'll be back in a little bit.
Okay, and we're back. Hello.
Still Saturday. So the second stanza, again starting out with "Oh Captain, my Captain." This time, rise up and hear the bells.
So really quick on that, "Oh Captain, my Captain." There's the repetition there, and you can go ahead and peek at the third stanza. It doesn't say "Oh Captain, my Captain," but it does say "my Captain" too.
Yes. But rise up and hear the bells. So we just found out the captain was dead, and this guy wants the captain to rise up and hear the bells. It's almost like a state of disbelief, like hoping that, trying to keep him alive.
A lot of the time, the first thing you do is, "No, come back! You're not dead! Come back! Come back!" And so here's all this celebration going on, this state of like almost victory, but the captain's dead and he can't enjoy it because he's just
It's
gone.
like everything's so happy around it, the captain can't be dead. Everything's so happy, how can you have something so sad in the middle of that? I mean, right, for you the flag is flung, for you the bugle trills, for you, there's all these for you things. This captain's also obviously done a lot for everyone here. I mean, the flag is flung just for him, bugle trills just for him, all these things just for him, and for you they call. I really like that part. So they've just reached the port. He is dead, but I'm guessing a lot of people don't know that he's dead yet. And for you, the people call. And then it even refers to the people as a swaying mass. But like their eager faces turning. These people are obviously excited to see him again because he's done so much. In that fearful trip that it says in the first stanza, I mean, obviously it was a scary time and a lot of people knew that. and they see the ship coming back, and oh my God, he survived. That's amazing. We gotta praise this guy.
Yep. And for you, the flag is flung. For you, the bugle trills. So obviously there is a victory, and they're all excited. They want to celebrate with him. And so that's what these 4 lines are talking about. It's just not only like you have the one guy who's there right next to him, realizing that he's dead, but he's trying to tell him like, no, you can't be dead. Like all these people are here to celebrate with you. Come on, get back up, man. Let's go. But he can't because he's dead.
And then the next 4 lines, just from all the celebration that's going on to just like disbelief of what's happened. This arm beneath your head. He's trying to hold him up, trying to wake him up. So, like this can't be dead. It's like some dream. It's so unreal. It's a dream. You can't be dead. It's just a dream. It's a nightmare. And I really like the emotional connection in that first line of the indentation part. Here, Captain, dear father. I mean, this captain didn't just serve and do some amazing stuff. He built great emotional connections with the people.
You see that emotional connection again. Their eager faces. It's like we mentioned before. Obviously, they've built a huge connection together, and he's not only a captain. They don't just like him. They're like they love him. They're eager to serve with him, to see him, to be with him, to do whatever he wants them to do. And dear father, so he's almost like a father figure to most of them. I kind of like fallen, cold, and dead. Like fallen. So it's almost like the shock of not only the dead body falling over, but like the shock of someone dying. It's like the floor is ripped out from underneath you, and you're falling because you can't comprehend it. And then the shock of cold when you like walk outside on a cold day, you just boom, you're just hit in the face with how cold it is, and like falling cold, like it plays into the weight of what's happened.
Not only the captain's fallen cold and dead, but what's going to come after it. All the hope that there is, all the celebration. Once you find out the captain's dead, it's just feels like it's going to fall.
So that leads us into the next stanza.
Which we will talk about after this, probably. Oh yeah.
Welcome to stanza number 3.
You might be able to tell that it is not Saturday night. It is Sunday.
Sunday afternoon.
Getting into this 3rd stanza, this guy is just at the end of the 2nd stanza, found out knowing his captain's dead, and just like some dream, this can't be happening. And then you get into this where it's my captain does not answer. Unlike the other 2 stanzas that started with Captain, my captain. It's like the acceptance that his captain's dead. His lips are pale and still. There's nothing left to hope that maybe he's still alive. He is dead. There's nothing we can do about that.
Then the next line, my father does not feel my arm. So we saw the similarity in like the reflection of the previous 4 lines that your captain, dear father. So he's saying father again, and then this arm beneath your head, and then he does not feel my arm. So just the repetition of those 2 words, and that just shows like this is the very next thing that's happening, and the poem is following it like chronologically, like right as it's happening. This is the next thing that's going on.
The next 2 lines: the ship is anchored safe and sound, the voyage closed and done. From fearful trip, the victor ship comes in with object 1. Which is, if you look back to the beginning in the first 4 lines of the 1st stanza, it's just a summary of that. It's basically a summary. It looks like this first 4 lines is just a summary of the situation that's going on. My captain's dead. He can't even know that I'm here, but the ship is safe. Everything is done. We've won. And just the juxtaposition of the safe, but what's happening next.
Yeah, I really like the ship is anchored safe and sound. So the ship obviously representing like the people or the nation or whatever. So that's safe because the voyage is done, and so you're safe. You're safe because your ship is back in the port. But now the captain is dead. I'm saying the captain was like the leader, and you rely on your leader, kind of like your anchor. So now their anchor is gone. So is the nation or whatever this ship is represented? Are they really safe? Are they really safe and sound now that he's dead?
Yeah, I mean,
Is the voyage really closed and done?
yes,
Because now that he's
it's
gone.
big question. The captain who led everything is gone. And I really like the next line, the first indented line, exalt those shores and ring o' bells. So if you look back and think back, ring o' bells, those are the bells that, at the port that are excited that the ship has returned and they've won. And then the exalt those shores, which if you look in the third line in the second stanza, for you bouquets and ribboned reefs, for you the shores are crowding. I mean, it's talking about the excitement that's there, but there's that irony that, but I with mournful tread walk the deck my captain lies fallen cold and dead. I mean, there's all this excitement out there at the port, but I'm for a loss because my captain's dead. What am I going to do? They don't even know what's going to happen next. So the rhyme scheme, which we probably mentioned already, the A, B, B, C, D, E, D. If you look back to the first two lines of the first stanza with done and won, and then you look to the third and fourth line of the third stanza, again you have done and won. The same words, talking about the same sorts of things. Kind of like you're going along and the captain's dead, but there was so much joy and hope at the beginning. Everything seemed fine. Maybe this is Walt Whitman trying to say that even though the end is calm and everything's so sad, there's still some hope. We'll talk about the poem overall. So starting with repetition, you go back to the first stanza, the fifth line, but oh heart, heart, heart. The repetition of those words for emphasis. You have the end of each stanza, fallen cold and dead. You have oh captain, my captain, starting at the first two stanzas and talking about the captain in the first line of each stanza at least.
Then with the oh heart, 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 remember the repetition, sort of, but kind of like a repetition of the idea or story. There's the 3 exclamation points in that one, and then in the second stanza there's here captain, dear father, there's 2 exclamation points, and exalt those shores and ring o' bells in the third stanza there's just 1 exclamation point. It's kind of going with the
Progression of
thank you, that's what the word I was like, the progression of the poem. And it's like you're starting out all happy and everybody's celebrating the victory, and then as we move on we realize that the captain is dead and slowly kind of not calming down, but like I can't talk right now. Excitement is
And so you kind of hinted at it earlier when you talked about the chronological order of this poem. If you look at each 4 lines and what it's talking about, so you started off with the first 4 lines talking about the journey, then oh my god, the captain's dead. Then you find out that everyone's waiting for them celebrating, and then there's disbelief that the captain's dead, the end realization that the captain is dead and there's nothing you can do, and then mourning the loss. I kind of see it as a progression of grief throughout the entire poem in 4-line segments.
Yep. Oh hey! Yeah, so one thing we're not talking about necessarily is authorial intent, because just keeping with the whole it's oh captain, my captain, right? That's where do most people know this poem from? Dead Poets Society, obviously. And so, Mr. Keating, at one point, talking to his class, says,
don't just consider what the author thinks, consider what you think.
Therefore, we're considering what we think, and not necessarily what he had in mind.
We're keeping it in mind, but it's not the main focus.
Exactly.
So, I mean, Mr. Mate, we are talking about enough other stuff that we don't need that one, so...
But if we're on that, it's pretty well known that this poem is actually about Abraham Lincoln and his assassination. And so we were trying to look at it though, with that, like, we were trying to look at it, keeping that out of mind and what we would think it was about if we didn't know that.
I think it actually helped us understand it a lot better, ignoring the fact that it's about Abraham Lincoln.
Because if you know if it's about Abraham Lincoln, then this is like, wow, that's easy. Like it's just like the voyage. Oh, the war's over. We won, and then he's assassinated, the president's dead, what do we do now? Crap.
Yeah.
But
But if you forget that, then you look at Here Captain, Dear Father, you really see the emotional impact. Instead of just knowing, oh, everyone loved Abraham Lincoln, you're like, oh my god, this captain was fantastic. He made emotional connections with his crewmates. Everyone loved him back at home. So just a better understanding of it from not necessarily knowing what he meant initially.
Yeah. I think it gives more weight too.
Yeah.
Excuse
So, just keep on going, talking about overall, the rhyme scheme said in the first stanza is present throughout the form A, B, B, C, D, E, D, with occasional rhymes between stanzas. So you have the done in 1 in lines 1 and 2 of the first stanza, and then done in 1 in the lines 3 and 4 of the last stanza. Then you have the ings and the third and fourth line of the first and second stanzas.
And then the one thing I don't like about the rhyme, okay, there's two things. I don't really like the ings personally.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of a little bit cheating. Like, you could say like bowling and swimming, technically that would rhyme, but I don't really, And then the other thing, like, you look at the second stanza, bells and trills. I don't pronounce trills trells or bells bills, so I think it's kind of cheating, but they're really close. So like, and obviously this is Whitman, like I can't really criticize him or anything. So
yeah. There's one thing I'd like to talk about. We kind of neglected this during the summary of talking about the stanzas. Is the meter of the poem. One thing I noticed was the first. You kind of have to ignore the first line because it's not really the first line.
the first line of each stanza,
yes.
not just the first line.
The first line of each stanza and the 4 indented lines. But if you look at lines 2 through 4 in each stanza, a little trick I learned with the iambic meters is keeping the beat. So at line 2, the ship has weathered every wreck, the prize we sought is won. Just going through a few different lines. For you they call the swaying mass, their eager faces turning. The ings kind of mess it up. But then you still have like, my father does not feel my arm, he has no pulse or will. So you can feel that unstressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed. And there are actually seven of those in the line, so iambic septameter for lines 2 through 4 in each stanza.
Do you guys want to talk about tone?
I think they do.
I think we kind of talked about tone already, but let's talk about it some more.
Yeah.
So obviously with tone, the beginning, like we said, it's kind of like it's a joyous tone, like the first 4 lines, but it's also it's not quite like shocked or sad or anything yet because we don't know that he's dead yet until the next 4 lines. But then the next 4 lines is kind of like it is kind of just like that jolt, like the shock of oh wait, he's dead.
A little bit of panic there.
In the tone. And then I think the panic comes more in the second part of the third stanza, that here captain dear father, this arm beneath your head, it is some dream. That on that deck you fall and float dead. I see that as kind of like panic and shock and dread. Again, playing into the stages of grief that we talked about. And then again, the before that though, the celebration. It's kind of like a tone of rejoicing, like we've been talking about the whole time. And then again, the tone for the last, like the third stanza, is kind of just like somber, kind of like remembering, kind of in a way, and like mournful, like kind of not coming to terms with it obviously because it's just happened, but it's starting to realize,
sink in.
Sink in, like the weight of what's happened.
Sticking with the tone of at the beginning of the third stanza, with my captain does not answer, which I just find this part really a huge change in tone with
it really causes you to stop, like it causes a shift in while you're reading it.
Yeah, because you
expect the captain, my captain, and then it's.
But because of the repetition there, but it's different in the third stanza, and it really causes you to stop. Oh wait, he's dead. And it hits you right there. And then he goes into describing how he's dead, and the space around him is so happy that when they don't know he's dead. But it's he's dead, and it's so sad, and so yeah.
I don't think there's anything else we have to talk about. I think that's more than 20 minutes of footage now.